Hello and welcome to the Failures to Success. My name is Vuyo Joboda, and on this podcast, weekly we will be discussing the true cost of success, looking at the realities behind success. What are the physical, psychological, spiritual, financial, and mental health effects and costs to being successful? In essence, we wish to share the failures to success to help equip, empower, and inspire you for your journey to success. Stick around, it's going to be a good one. What's good? Hello. Molweni, as it's say in my home language, is Xhosa. Molweni, which means hello. So to all my American folks or international folks, when you say hello in Xhosa, it's molweni. There you go. Teaching you a thing or two. But once again, hello everyone. This is the Failures to Success podcast by myself, your darling Vuyo Joboda. I am super excited about this conversation, about this podcast, because it really unpacks what it is that success is, and underlined within that, getting to see the realities behind success, which 99%, as Mr. Honda had said in our previous episode, is success. So 99% of success is failure. Now, I did promise you guys a bit of story time, that I would tell some stories. So this episode is a story time episode, and I get to share a story of failure that also led to success, or an experience that was a successful experience but had glimpses, ounces, kilograms, full-on experience that had failure. So I hope that you are ready to learn more about this particular story. And there's so many others. So I'll be unpacking them throughout the season and just giving you them one by one, because it's quite a lot to unpack in a single episode. Okay. I hope you enjoyed our previous episode. If you haven't, go back, listen to it, go hear it out. In the episode, we got to understand what failure actually means, and the definition of failure and the definition of success. But also, I gave you some examples of some people, individuals that we now know, love, and support and appreciate, but their stories to success had ounces, inches, kilograms, pounds of failure in there. So go check that out episode. But on today's episode, as I said, I'm sharing a story. So in my high school career, I was what my aunt said at my graduation, that she was a busy child. That was the exact words used. She was a busy child. And when I get to think about my high school years, when I was in high school, I was actively busy, and I loved the idea of being occupied, and really kind of working towards something. So when I was in primary school, so that is like younger years, I was bullied a lot, right? So I was bullied in primary school because, for various reasons, and I get to share that on my TEDx talk, which y'all should go check out. TEDx Cape Town, Vuyo Joboda. If you search my name, you'll find my TEDx talk. But I got to share about like the experiences of bullying and how that affected my childhood. So when I was in primary school, I was bullied a lot, and there's nothing that I felt like I did or I could do that stopped the bullying from going away. And I was, bullied, and so many different things were said about to me, and it was quite painful. And when I made a devotion to myself and a decision to myself that when I get to high school, I want to ensure that I don't get bullied again, that no one says anything to me or about me that will make me feel like I'm nothing, or I'm little, or I'm not enough. And I needed to find ways of channeling that, that rejection to being someone that is revered and celebrated and wanted, and feeling like there's a place for me, within this environment. And I felt like there wasn't that in primary school. So the beginning of my high school career, I started finding myself, always have loved television, always have loved watching TV. But I made an active choice when I entered high school that I want to start actively pursuing this thing now, to keep myself busy, to keep myself away, and to just cancel the noise of the bullying, and like, because that took a toll on me, in primary school. So then, I started doing pageantry and talent shows and dance competitions, and that was the majority of my high school career. I was, from the first grade 8, I was like participating in national and local and all types of pageantry, and that was my escape. That was my way of like, oh, that car better stop now. Okay. So I didn't enjoy that, and I didn't like that experience of being made to belittled. So that car, there we go. Ain't no car gonna stop me and this conversation. So let's continue. Then I got to high school and I started participating in pageantry, and I felt like I belonged somewhere. I felt like finally I'm doing something, I'm good at it, right? I'm qualifying for the national championships, and I'm, excelling within this thing. Because when I was in primary school, funny enough, I excelled in academia, so I was like naturally smart. And I thought that the reason why I'm getting all this pain and all this bullying is because I'm intellectually smart. So I was like, when I go to high school, I need to find something else to be good at, because ain't no book smart making me cool. I'm being bullied because of it. So I must find something else to do. And I wanted to shy and hide away from academia because I wanted to not be bullied again. And I found passion within like arts and entertainment and, pageantry and modeling and acting and dancing. So I was like, let me put my focus and my energy within that, because this other side, they will at you. You know what I mean? Because you're the girl and, you're the one who is seemingly better, and you're getting all these awards and the certificates. And I had like a stack of different awards in primary school for maths and science and this, and I was like, I ain't going that route for sure, because I don't want to be bullied anymore. So I started doing all of these pageantry, and I started doing all of this, and in grade 8 qualified for nationals, and I was going back and forth, and it dawned on me that I was starting to get or to feel those glimpses of the bullying, right? Because I was a child who now takes time off school, appearing on TV, and I'm in my newspapers, and I'm in magazines, and that still felt like the exact same amount of eyes of like shame that were looking at me in primary school, because I was doing something and doing it well. So I was starting to feel that again. I was like, I don't like to, I thought I was escaping academic excellence. Now I'm doing cultural excellence by doing all of these pageantry, and I'm again getting all of this like lashback. It's just like, what should I do? And not even for other people, but like, these are things that I am passionate about. So very strategically, I'm passionate about the industry, right? I watch TV every single day back from school. So it was something that resonated with me. So to have to feel like that's been taken away from me was very painful. And I thought one day, I was like, let me include others, right? Let me include others so that I don't have to feel like I'm the only one who is winning Miss this, Miss that, is placing at Miss Cape Town, Miss Western Cape. Let me do something that's going to enable others to also be Miss something. So then I started a company that was called Perez Empire Events at the time, and it was an events company. And the first thing I wanted to do with the company was to host a beauty pageant, because I was like, I'm missing school, I'm doing all these things, I'm in all these newspapers because I'm doing pageants, and I want others to experience this so they don't have to bully me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't want anyone to bully me, so come here, I'll do it as well. Be Miss something as well, so you don't have to feel like I'm, I'm excelling in this thing and I'm different. And I was always trying to shy away and hide away from that difference. Having a glimpse of that quite recently, and it kind of, even now, I'm thinking back to it and I'm saying that experience makes sense now. But I was running away from the bullying yet again, and I did this pageant, and this pageant was a great success. And mind you, I'm in grade 9, because from grade 8 to like grade 9, I was like pageants, miss this, miss that, talent show. I could dance, I could sing, I could act, I could model, I was pretty. It was like, girl, like, you coming at all of the categories, like, stop. And I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, like, this is who I am. Like, I can, jack all the trades. So I wanted to do something where others could also do that, and impart. So I did this pageant, did workshops for it, because I wanted others to also kind of get skills that will enable them to be and to do well. Because I was like, I don't want to be the only one doing well. I want you to also do well, so you don't have to bully me. And I did talent, I did workshops, I did photo shoots so that they could also have photos to post, so that when I'm posting my professionally shot photographs at a pageant, no one's gonna say, oh, oh, this, that. And I was like, so I did that as well. And they had photo shoots, and there was workshops, and there was rehearsal, and it was fun. It was an amazing time. I felt like I was connecting with my peers. I felt like finally I am not feeling like I am an outsider, or I'm a bystander, or I'm too good to be in this group. It felt so painful to just feel like you're different, which I'm starting to embrace now. But back then I was like, I can't handle not having friends. I've spent my entire primary school career being bullied. I would really like a glimpse and experience of like friendship and, community. And that was a way for me to get connected to my peers at the photo shoots, at the rehearsals, at the workshops. I was getting to understand them and connect with them better. And yeah, it was kind of like a big challenge. And but this company was brewing, right? It was occurring, and I use this as a story of a failure to success, because even the origin of it was stemmed from the pain of wanting belonging, the pain of wanting not to be bullied, the pain of not wanting to be rejected by my peers and to be shunned upon and to feel like I'm different by doing something that I'm passionate about. And I'd already discarded something that I loved, which was academia. I loved maths. I loved it. But I had to discard that, and I was like, I don't want to also have to lose. I don't want to lose this as well, so I'm going to invite you all in. And that went very well. That was a very successful event. Extremely successful. 100% successful. But before I share the successes of it, right, I just want to give you guys like a framework of what was going down behind the scenes, like what was really happening behind the scenes. Yes, the event became a massive success, and I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my God, I'm like 15, 16 years old, and I've brought together the entire community. I've done something that people are going to be able to be proud of their entire lives. I've changed the future of many young people's, the lives of many young people's and their future and the trajectory of their careers, because now something is ignited in them that they didn't have before, but now is, because no one else was doing something like this. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. I really was. But behind that, I was experiencing certain failures that made me so discouraged. I was... I lost, even though I felt like I was within my peers, and my peers were starting to recognize me or see me as one of them, there was a level of superiority or level of distance that I felt like was being maintained, because I was the CEO and the founder and the director of this pageant. So they still deemed me with an extent and a certain amount of respect that I was like please don't give me, I want you guys to be like, let's be in this together. But there was still a level of, you're still our leader, you are still the founder, you're still the director, so we still have to listen to what you have to say. And that scared me, because that's what I was running away from. But that was a very painful experience to have to go through, because it still brought me back to that point of like, where exactly really do you belong? Because you don't really belong within these people or within this group, because to some degree you're still different. And that was painful, and I felt like I was, I had lost dynamics in friendships, because I was the one hosting the pageant, and now I'm not just a friend, but I'm also the director of the pageant that they're entering. And it was, those dynamics were very difficult to navigate, and I had to maintain my position. I'm a 15-year-old, 16-year-old CEO of a company. I'm the director of this pageant, and I still need to make my friends understand that I can't be like that in that space. That was hard. I lost some friendships. I lost, the genuinity in certain friendships as well. And certain people got mad at me when they didn't win, and I wasn't even the judge. I wasn't even the judge. I remember the day of the event, one of our MCs had pulled out. And I was like, oh my God, like, who's gonna MC? And I got on stage and I MC'd the event. And that was another thing that I was like, why now? Like, why must this happen today? Like, why must this happen now? And we don't have an MC, and how's the event gonna happen? But I had to just pull up my socks and do that. And that was a failure that I had to overcome, on top of being the director. I was now on stage and everyone's watching me, which I was trying in every way, shape, or form avoid. Now everyone's on stage, it's a packed full auditorium, and I'm on stage and I'm hosting and everyone's looking at me, and the idea was to try and put others on, to try and let others be on the spotlight, because everyone has been seeing me. So it was like, oh, I'm trying to hide away and shy away, and that was, it was tough. Teachers were starting to treat me a little bit differently now, because they students were talking about entering this pageant, and there was a different dynamic that I felt in school. By there comes the car. Lord Jesus, who is that person? Who is that person with this car? This car is like, I'm going to show you, man. You ain't about to do story time. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, stop. So the dynamics with teachers was changing. The dynamics with like every aspect of my life was starting to begin to change. Family was starting to see me differently. It was like, oh, now you're not just like a talent. You're not just like the pageant girl. Now you're the director of a pageant. I was like, oh my God. That was scary. That was really scary. And it made me then once again, like it was, and I use it as those being failures, because it had compromised my relationship with others, because I had to understand that they still love me, I still love them, but my positioning has been different, and I need to accept the fact that I'm at this point in this time now, right? Which has been accompanied by my decision to start this pageant, which was motivated by something that I was it was like, I'm trying to step away from this, but now I'm getting into this, and now I'm finding myself back in this position again. How do I run away? How do I stay away from this? That was terrifying. And the funny thing is that I couldn't even register like a bank account. So I was utilizing, because I was too young, I was like 15, I think, I couldn't do adult things. I couldn't like get a business bank account. I had to use my mom's email address, because if people saw that it was me, like if corporations and city council and the mayor and all the people that were in charge of the progression of the pageant I didn't want them to know it was me because I was like, I'm young and, yeah, it's been very tricky. I'm too young and I don't know if it's just like, it's going to be beneficial for me. And so I utilize my mom's email address to communicate with people for vendors and getting the venue and, accessing different people. And so that in itself was an experience that I had to go through, where I couldn't reveal that it's a 15-year-old behind this email because you might not take it seriously or you might not, it was like, I really want to do this, so let me do it. And couldn't register a bank account. And it was really tough. And the beauty within that was what was the success elements of it. For the first time, I had 5,000 Rand in my bank account, and that was how many years was that? About 10 years ago? It was over 10 years ago. And that was, no, not 10 years. It was 2014? Yeah, 9 years ago. And 9 years ago, 2023, 9 years ago. And I made 5,000 Rand and I was a high school student. What am I going to do with 5,000 Rand in high school? My family, I have a house, I have a place to go. And the funniest thing, you laugh at this, but I used that money to book a flight to go to Johannesburg. Well, that's a story for another day. My dad was like, are you wasting this money or not? What are you doing? Why don't you just buy a laptop or buy something? I used the money to go to Joburg for another pageant and another talent competition. But anyway, I made 5,000 Rand. The success of the pageant went far and wide. I was in newspaper articles. I was in, written about in magazines. I had TV interviews. The venue was packed. The whole community came out. And when I say the whole community, everyone came to watch this pageant because there wasn't anything like that happening in the community in that time. So everyone was coming out and, young people were moving around. We had a charity organization that we had kind of taken from the pageant, where the winners were going to the community and plowing back. People who came to the pageant donated clothes, and we were doing a charity drive, and there were stuff donated to the homeless, and we went to go feed the homeless and worked at the shelter. And it was oh my goodness. And there were other opportunities that were coming forward. Talent management offers from different talent agency that was based in our community, and young people were getting excited. It was a change in our community. There's this successful organization that's doing all of this amazing work, and I was really proud of myself. I was oh my goodness. But within that, I was what it took for me to get to this point was so hard. I didn't have enough time, because I was planning this pageant. There were times where I couldn't, I had to stay up late at night to finish my schoolwork, because during the day I would have to kind of, work on this pageant, and I would have to go to meetings, and I would have to go see venues and this and that. So which meant that I had to work extra hard in my academics and in my school, because I needed to work in the nighttime compared to the day, like every other child was doing. So those are some of the things that I had to go through, but it was an amazing experience. And I remember back to that experience now, that it changed the trajectory of people's lives, because till this day, and the beauty of what success does is that it elongates the lifespan of it, goes further and further. When I tell you now, when I get to see the young people who entered that pageant in 2014, 9 years ago, I look at them today and I'm so proud that was a little bit of a glimpse that was a failure. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you learned a thing or two, and hopefully plenty of information, insight, and of course, inspiration right here on the Failures to Success podcast. My name is Vuyo Joboda. I'll see you on the next episode. But for now, do follow me on all social media platforms at Vuyo Joboda, and also visit our YouTube channel on at Vuyo Joboda for more of this episode and many others. From myself to you with so much love, it is goodbye, and don't forget, it's one day at a time, one step at a time, one failure at a time, and one success at a time. Love you loads. Goodbye for now.